Hi, I'm Stacey Hyde, and I'm back for another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 Minutes or Less. And today I'd like to talk about long weekends. We have Memorial Day weekend coming up as I'm recording this, but summer kind of lends itself to taking a Friday off or taking a Monday off, or leaving early on a Friday and taking a Monday off, kind of putting together some smaller, shorter getaways. Maybe it's a place you drive to, maybe there's a fun place to go that has a direct flight that only takes a couple of hours, and you want to do some of that. So the question often becomes, one, how do you afford it? What do you need to think about as you're looking at it? One, you need to look at the cost of getting there, and then you need to look at the cost of getting around once you get there, particularly if you fly. Is there public transportation? Will you take Ubers? Will you rent a car? Those have gotten much more expensive than they used to be. A hack that I've personally used, if you're a Costco member, is Costco Travel has some of the best rates I've been able to find for rental cars. And then you also have hotel or Airbnb or VRBO. And when you're looking at any of those three, particularly Airbnb or VRBO, make sure you're looking at the total cost of that stay, because cleaning fees, the platform fee for who you're using can add several $100s to the cost of your stay. And you want to make sure that you've factored all of that into it. And if you stay in a hotel, you're likely going to be eating out for most every meal, so you need to make sure that you factored in food, entertainment, and make sure you have a realistic budget. I do believe, and I've said this before on the podcast, that I believe that travel experiences are some of the best way to spend your money. I just spent a couple of days in Madrid. It's a fabulous city. Loved it, loved the people, loved the food. Actually thought the food was incredibly reasonably priced for the wonderful food we had. Pretty well walked my feet off. And so it's important to make sure you're looking at the total cost of what you're planning for. And ways to kind of prepare for that, to give yourself a little breathing room in your budget, is to, leading up to it, maybe take your lunch more often. I think you'll be surprised at how much you can save if you brown bag it. Also, cooking at home. We've talked about these before, but it gets a little bit easier to do it if you actually get the cash out of the ATM, and as you bring your brown bag, look to see how much you normally would have spent if you'd been eating out. Like, look back and say, oh, okay. Or I know a lot of people use DoorDash or Uber Eats food delivery. That can add up quite a bit. And so instead of doing that, say, okay, I'm not going to do that this month. I'm going to put all that money aside for my trip. And then I think you'll have a wonderful experience and really get out and be able to see different parts of the country, enjoy some time away to recharge and energize. And I think it's also interesting that just having that vacation planned actually gets you more focused at work. It improves your mood because you have all this excitement leading up to it. So I think it's just important to make sure that you plan for it so that you don't wind up after the trip having a big credit card balance, especially with what interest rates are right now, so that you can go ahead before your trip. You've already paid off your lodging. You've already paid for your, if you're flying, you've already paid for your flight. Maybe you're able to use points. Maybe you have some credit card points that you're able to cash in and use instead of spending cash. I had some food vouchers on my IHG account that I was able to use to offset what we had spent food and drink at the hotel, and it worked out great. I think I wound up paying $6 for an $86 tab. And so I think that there's great ways to do that, save a little money, but definitely get out there, see it. And there's ways to do it less expensively. You know, you can go over to, if you live in the Memphis area, you can go over to Arkansas. There are wonderful hiking and biking trails over there. That's not going to cost you a lot, but it's beautiful. You can go canoeing or kayaking on all the rivers and lakes around here. And it's just a way to get away and recharge your batteries, but it doesn't have to break the bank and it doesn't have to break your budget. Just do a little planning ahead of time, and I think it's easier to stay disciplined when there's a reward that's coming up very, very soon. Thanks again. Enjoy your trip. Don't forget to set that out of office message. This has been Stacey Hyde and another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 Minutes or Less.